I watch the sandwich disappear into the darkest depths of the bin. And I'll go home tonight and I'll tell my mum that I am not hungry, so that she will put the minimum amount of food on my plate. That was me restricting my food during my teenage years. And actually at that point, I delayed starting my periods by about a year. And no one ever said to me, Caroline, it's because you're too light. And that is just one example of disordered eating patterns. There's eating disorders, which is a mental health condition, but so many of us have disordered eating patterns somewhere along that spectrum. Disordered eating patterns are unhealthy relationships with food. Relationships that don't necessarily cause our body and our mind to thrive. And I still have it to some, a disordered eating pattern in some respects. If I am stressed, I'm going to want the tub of ice cream. I'm going to want to eat the entire pack of biscuits. And I know so many of you will be saying, yeah, that's me. If I'm stressed, if I'm bored, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, food quite often is what we turn to for comfort. And I'm here to tell you, stop dieting. Dieting is not the fix for disordered eating patterns. It is not a fix for improving your relationship with your food. It is not a fix for getting your body to thrive, which is what we want to do when we fuel our body. And that's because diets change stuff just at a systems level. You change what you're eating for a certain amount of time. And actually, with a diet, there's no long-term system for sustaining change or achieving success. There's no part during that diet process of counting calories or Atkins or keto or paleo, whatever it is, there's no identity change. And that identity change is where you get long-term transformation. When you're dieting, there's no evidence that I am now a healthy person. I am someone who uses food to thrive. All it does is it changes the system. So this is how we change it. 7 different ways that you can start to find freedom with food. Let's throw away the disordered eating patterns, the unhealthy relationship, the things that we tell ourselves, the things that we beat ourselves up about when it comes to the food that we put in our bodies. I hope you have a pen and paper for these. I feel these are so important. Number 1, unconditional permission to eat. No matter the time of day, no matter the time of year, no matter how old you are, no matter what you want to eat, then you can eat. No matter if it's for chocolate or for fruit, for dessert or for a steak, you have unconditional permission to eat. And why is that important? Because unconditional permission to eat is the only way to start to break the restrict binge cycle. What is that? So restriction is where you say, I am not going to eat this. So I'm not necessarily talking about severe restriction of food at all. I'm talking about you saying, right, I'm going to give up chips. I'm not going to eat bread for a month. I'm going to give up all unhealthy food. And by putting that food type or particular food substance into this box, the first thing that you want to do is eat it. I'm not going to eat chocolate. And guess what? You end up eating the entire bar because at some point your willpower is going to snap. And that's normal. It's not your fault. The stressful situation comes up, you're craving for the carbohydrates or the chips or the pizza or whatever it is. And because you haven't been giving yourself permission to eat it, you want to eat it all. Hands up who's done that. I know I have. If you say you can't have it, at some point, you're going to therefore break that and want to eat it all. The restriction accentuates the craving. It gives you this craving that is more than is ever normal for that particular type of food. So give yourself unconditional permission to eat. And if you have cravings, listen to them. If you are someone who craves bread, eat bread every day. Yes, that is my advice. If you are someone who wants to eat all of the bread, eat it every day. If you are someone who stress eats biscuits, you've had a stressful day at work and you come home and you eat the entire pack, then eat that biscuit every single day. Stop it, and that will stop it being this pedestal on a pedestal in your head. It will start to become more of your normal everyday food and lose that special importance. Okay, number 2, focus on addition and not subtraction. And this is completely related to point number 1. When you subtract things, you're focusing on what you can't have. It feels like you're being deprived. Focus instead on adding things to your daily food. And quite often those positive additions will crowd out some of the food that doesn't support your goals anyway. So examples might be focus on adding a lean portion of protein with every single meal. It will fill you up more. It will promote better body composition if you're training. Focus on adding 2 fistfuls of veggies to every single meal. And therefore that's half a plate full already. Focus on adding snacks. Yes, add snacks. If you are someone who thinks, oh no, it's not dinner time, it's 3 p.m, I'm already hungry, I'll just endure it. Well, by the time you therefore get to dinner time, you're starving. You're going to go for the easiest option, no matter what that is. So add snacks in if that's going to help you manage your hunger and your energy levels throughout the day. Number 3, get rid of labels. No food is good and no food is bad. Stop judging it, because then you put that judgment onto yourself. If you think a food is good, are you therefore good if you eat it? If you think that food is bad, are you therefore bad if you eat it? No. So get rid of those labels. Food is food. Now the science behind it doesn't change, so there will be some food that gives you more vitamins and minerals, more fibre, more protein, more salt, more fats, more carbohydrate. Some food will be more nutritionally dense and some food will be less nutritionally dense. But that does not make food good or bad. Get rid of that judgment. Look at the food for what it actually is. What nutrition does it offer for your body? Number 4. Be aware of your emotions around food. In today's society, there's such an abundance of food, and therefore we can turn to it when we're bored, when we're stressed, when we want to celebrate, when we're trying to console ourselves. And so just notice this. You don't have to start changing it already, but notice, I'm eating this biscuit. Is it because I want the comfort? Is it because I am stressed? Because once you've noticed, there's quite often a better strategy or tool that you could use. So instead of eating the packet of biscuits, and I've certainly got a lot better at this, I know instead I might go and hug my husband. I might go for a run. I might channel that stress in a much more positive way that supports my goals and my well-being. So just notice the emotions. Number 5, drink water. And that is even more important actually in the cold weather than it is in the hot weather. We can become more dehydrated when it's cold. And the thing is, quite often we mask our thirst as hunger cues. We think that we're hungry when we're not, we're thirsty. So get yourself well hydrated. You will feel so different if you are. Your energy levels will soar. Your mind becomes clearer when you're well hydrated. And that doesn't mean glugging a big glass of water at a meal. It means hydrate yourself steadily throughout the day. Okay, number 6. Be consistent and not perfect. This one is so important, and I hear it all the time, and you see it with people that are dieting. Oh, I've blown it today, I'll start again on Monday. And then every single week you're just trying again, because you're focusing on the wrong thing. You don't have to be perfect, because if you're not perfect, you therefore think you failed, and you completely haven't. Studies show that you can be just a little bit consistent and still have results. This was in weight loss studies. So if you are just 50, 60, 70% consistent, then results will happen. And they will happen to less of an extent than if someone was 80, 90 plus consistent. But you don't have to be perfect. And therefore, don't miss twice. Don't miss twice. If you have a meal where you feel like you've made the wrong choices or you've overeaten on something, that's fine. Forget about it. You do not need to feel guilty for what has happened in the past. You do not need to make up for it. You do not need to skip a meal. You do not need to feel bad about it. You move on. It has happened. But don't miss twice. Get straight back on track. And just think about that all or nothing mindset for me for a moment, in a different context. If you were driving a car and you got a puncture, would you get out and think, oh, I've blown a tyre? Well, the only thing that I can do in that situation is go and slash the other tyres. No, you wouldn't do that, would you? If you had a mobile phone and you got this tiny little crack in the screen, would you take that phone and smash it with a hammer just because that had happened? Hopefully not. You'd go and get the puncture fixed. You'd go and get the mobile phone screen fixed. And that's just the same concept that you need to apply to your nutrition. Don't miss twice. Just get straight back on it. One meal doesn't make you healthy, and one meal doesn't make you unhealthy. Okay, final thing. And this one is so important. It's about understanding your behaviour and your environment around food. And before I tell you what it is, head down to the description section, go click on the link there, and stay in contact with me. Let's continue this conversation. Let's learn together. I've got some great stuff that I want to send your way. So go leave your email address and tell me in the comments what it is that you found most useful about this video. What has really challenged something or something that you haven't heard of before? What are you maybe going to do differently this week from listening to this? Okay, last one. This is point number 7. If it is there and available, you will eventually eat it. If it is there and readily available, you will eventually eat it. Let's call it a law of behaviour. As in, if you have a bowl of cookies on the side and you walk past it as you go into the kitchen, how much more likely are you to take that biscuit and eat it as you're just passing? It's there, it's available. And if you keep the apples in the back of the fridge, at the back of a drawer, and you never see them and they're hidden by everything, how likely are you to eat them then? So use the environment to your advantage. Get the apples out of the fridge, put them in a bowl and put them on the side. They're then more readily available, and the easy option then becomes that. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to plan for it. That one decision is like a gateway decision to much better choices again and again and again. The cookies, if they have to be in the house, get them on the top shelf. Put them behind something else. Increase the effort that you have to go through to get to them. Increase the friction. And decrease the effort that it takes to make healthier choices. I hope this has been incredibly useful, ladies and gents. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you about some of these things that I feel so passionate about today. So go check out some of my other stuff. Let's keep learning together.